Hello, hello, hello. I'm Joy K. Massenberg, your host of Joyful Moments with Joy. Yeah, you feel it. Get them up. I need a thumbs up. Hey, I need a thumbs up. Hey. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Share. All right, guys. I can't wait to tell you about the thief. Comparison is stealing our joy. Psalms 119 and 37. Turn away my eyes from looking at worthless things and revive me in your way. That's what comparison is. It is worthless. We're going to have to focus on the truth of who I am and what my situation is at this moment. I cannot compare that to others because they may be doing something else in their life and have a totally different calling. I think Theodore Roosevelt said it best. He's the one that really coined that phrase about comparison being the thief of our joy. I'm going to quote him directly though, when he says, do what you can with what you have where you are. Let's say that again. Do what you can with what you have where you are. I'm going to give all the credit to this talk today to Michaela Stevenson. I was like, okay, what can I talk to the ladies about today? Those ladies who read romance and imagine themselves in those relationships, experiencing them. She said, Mom, you know what? I remember in my first year of marriage where I made the mistake of trying to compare my relationship to the things I had either seen on TV or that I had read in books. I had to put that away for a while because I'm trying to force what I have to be what was in those books. So I do want to put this disclaimer out there, guys. Yes, we are reading about romance, but you might want to take into the setting that those stories are told in. Like, for instance, she's talking about the first year of her marriage, and the book might be talking about a relationship that's 10 years old, and you want to compare a 10-year-old relationship to a first-year relationship? Yeah, I can see where problems are going to start. Can you just imagine? You've taken all this time, you've been a single, you don't have to worry about anybody else. Things are done the way you want them. It's all about you. Now you've been swept into this romance. They so crazy about you, you crazy about them, but you've never lived together. You've never had to deal with somebody leaving the toilet seat up. You've never had to deal with one person being very tidy and one person maybe not so tidy. One person's an early morning riser, another one, they don't like to get up early at all. Now you're bringing these two whole concepts and merging them. Oh my goodness, as one. Total picture in my mind. Have you ever, when you're younger, you get the Play-Doh, you can't stand to leave the red by itself or the blue or the yellow by itself. What's the first thing we want to do? We want to mix them and put them together. And I don't care how much you roll them in a ball in the beginning. What happens? You can still see those individual colors. It takes a while of tearing it up, meshing, and before you start seeing those colors start combining to make something else. I want to challenge you even further. Let's stop making comparisons in a holy union to that's of the world. Some of us have watched TV and we're trying to create these great unions and these lasting relationships based on principles that don't add up in the Word. For instance, I know I've told y'all before the ratio. Go watch some of those beginning shows. The ratio of people who lived together years before they say I do, their relationships are more likely to end in divorce. But we watch on TV and we compare all this time. I'm going to get to know them and then I'll know for sure. I'm going to live with them. I'm going to try it all out and see if it'll last without really doing the homework to know that that whole concept of, oh, I'm going to get in a relationship, always having me a backdoor plan that I can get out, generally leads to us what? Getting out. So when we're making our comparisons, we have to make sure that just like in the romance novels, that we're not comparing at all. Let's go in here and find the truth of how God instituted marriage and what it's supposed to look like. And then do what? Without looking at yours, I'm dealing with me, the man God blessed me with, and what he said in his word and how we are to apply those concepts and those precepts and God's truths and live it out. You get what I'm saying? We're going to go a little farther. I'm going to give you some more information and you'll see. All right, let's see what the ant has to deal with this whole thing about comparison. This was really good. And this time I went to Ant Wisdom for this bit of information. We're going to talk about the backup ants in the colony. They have backup ants. The fact that the queen is necessary not in any way reduces a worker as an uncomely part, and neither any less with honor within the nest. What are they saying? Don't get to comparing the worker to the queen. The queen is its own individual. Yes, the nest cannot survive without the queen, but guess what? The nest can't survive without the workers either. You remember how I tell you that we are uniquely and individually made and fashioned? It's for a purpose. So, some ant species are hardworking, and there are others who have a go slow operating system within the nest. One will find in some species that they have sections within the nest that are observed as non-productive and seem to roam without activity. The reason is, it was seen for this, they are the backup colony. They're there not to really work in the nest right now. They are the backup for if something happens and comes in and wipes out a lot of them. Then these ants go to work. Because if all of them were in there working, it'll clog the channels. I watched the video where you really have some ants that's in there and they're not acting as actively as the others because those little tunnels are really small. And if everybody was in there, it would clog it up and they can't even get work done. So they know when they're called to go into action. So some of you are even saying, hey, my relationship, I haven't gotten married yet. I don't have any kids yet. I have a friend that didn't even start having children until she was 41. She didn't get married until later in life. We have to understand that just like the ant, when God designed these relationships, he knows when they are to happen. He knows those who are to marry and have children. He knows those who are just to be single and are workers in the nest or queens in the nest. Or guess what? Those soldier ants, they only go to work when they need to defend. They're not defending all the time. They're not always at war. So what am I going to say it again? Don't allow comparison to steal your joy. Don't look at somebody else's relationship and think that yours is less than. One of the things I can truly say personally that I learned from that, my husband said, I need you to open your mouth, girl, and communicate what you want. It's not less romantic because you told me what you wanted. But when you watch these shows and you're looking over the fence into somebody else's backyard, it seems like they just came up with all of these wonderful romantic ideas, right? But I've learned now, I tell my husband exactly what I want for my birthday. I tell him what I want for Christmas. Now, I'm not going to lie. He has surprised me. One of the best anniversaries ever, I can still say, was the time that he set up the shopping trip and the dinner out in Dallas without me knowing it. He got the kids involved and I knew nothing about it, and it was a total surprise. Guys, we've been married going on 28 years. All right. When July comes around, it'll be 28 years. And out of those 28 years, one time has that happened. But I can truly say I've been so much happier that now that I voice what I want, what I don't want, And I'm going to tell you something else about opening your mouth and communicating. And guys, I'm just going to be a little transparent here. That's about everything. What you like, you're going to have to be more vocal. If the kiss is wrong, tell honey, hey, I don't like when you kiss me like that. Okay? Sometimes you just need to communicate these things. It's not that they're less sexy or you're less attracted to them. You just need to communicate. Just like we do in romance novels. I thought that I would give y'all an example today of communication in romance novels is the dialogue, where the characters are dialoguing back and forth. One of the techniques and craft that I've learned is that don't just have them saying, huh, yeah, uh-huh. Any piece of dialogue, it is to reveal something new to the reader about the character, is to reveal some information. Guys, I want you to take that and run with it and apply that to your life, that when you're communicating with your spouse, there's things, I bet if you think back, there's some things you've never shared with your spouse. When you're communicating, you need to start opening up and sharing things. Tell them things. Be open. Let them learn something new about you. Okay, I think a perfect example of communication is in dialogue. And what they taught us in dialogue is that when you're communicating, make sure that the characters are revealing some new information to the reader, exposing something new about each character. I need you to take that example and apply it to your life. Guys, open up with your loved one, with your spouses, in these relationships that you're trying to build, these lasting relationships. I need you to begin to communicate things about yourself. That's the only way they will learn. As my husband say, open up your mouth. Tell me. It's not any less romantic. Now, this particular scene in this book is not a romantic scene, but I have learned to get to the romance, you really have to have moments of conversation where you reveal your fears and your thoughts. This is a part in the book where she accuses Q of something that she feels like he did. And I love the fact, as you watch me read, that unless he gets her to open up and to talk, he doesn't understand how he's offended her. Okay, let's go there. This is in page 96. So if you own the book, you can get it out. Page 96 in A Cry for Independence. What makes you believe I raised a hand to our son? Q hugged her tighter, then stroked the side of her face. I saw you out of the kitchen window. Tammy cringed, irritated by the pathetic whine in her voice. Did you see me strike, Junior? Tammy twisted her body to the left, but failed to break free of his embrace. He loosed his hold, but didn't let her go. Let's talk things out. I don't know what you think you saw, but I promise I didn't hit him. I'm not asking. Let me go. Q released her, but he didn't step back. Tammy spun around and scowled. I won't apologize. I might have missed the signs before, but not this time. Never again will my son suffer at the hands of a man because of me. She looked beyond the tears pooling in Q's eyes. I don't care if you donated the seed. Are you telling me Fred hit my boy? Tammy wrapped her arms around herself and rocked. I came home from work. The house was trashed. Lamps broken, coffee table littered with drug paraphernalia. She stumbled backward and sat hard in the cushioned lawn chair. I'm going to stop there. You'll have to get the book to read the rest. But do you see how her fears of something that had happened in the past played in a moment where she was willing to accuse him of something that he's saying he didn't do? That's a little heavy, but I'm just saying maybe your romance needs to start to the place if you opened up about maybe some things in your past or past relationships and you let them know, then that person can then communicate to you where their heart really is and what they mean by their actions. Guys, romance is not about the things that people are guessing about. It's about knowing one another's fears. It's about being transparent, learning together. and overcoming together. All right. These are the kind of things that we're going to share and we're going to continue to grow and learn. How do we do that? By connecting with me. Have you actually subscribed to the website? That's the www.joykmassenberg.com. As you've learned, just because I'm an author and a writer of a book, there's so many principles we can pull out of these books. There's so many things that I would love to just go back and forth with you. One of the moments that's coming up, that's October 31st. We're having Java with Joy, where you can ask me anything. Who am I appealing to? Writers. Do you write journals? Were you one of those ones who loved having writing in your diaries and you had the little key and you could lock it? Maybe you're just writing notes. Maybe you're writing blogs, or you're writing magazine articles or devotionals. Are you writing? Do you feel that overwhelming desire to put pen to paper? Maybe you're the type that writes letters and then crumble them up and throw them away, because that's how your mind processes information. I need you to connect with me. I need to know that so that I can continue to supply the type of content that you need to continue to write these things down, leaving a legacy. What? Not just for the next person, but for your children and your children's children. So make sure you subscribe. October 31st, meet with me, 9 a.m. Central. You have to subscribe. Once you put your email in, that's when you'll receive the invitation, the Zoom invitation. That's when you get the password, so we can what? Conversate together and grow a relationship. Also, if you just need that boost every morning but Sunday, when I decide to take my own rest, that's the Psalms 119 morning. You can get that at YouTube. You can even go to Instagram for that. But right here, every Thursday, what? Joyful Moments with Joy. I love it. 6 o'clock. That's YouTube. Pull it up. We're going to have those things for my ladies who really, if you're reading romance, you desire to see it in your life. Those lasting relationships you're reading about, you want it, and you know you're going to pick up concepts and principles that you need to start seeing that in your own life, seeing elements in whichever relationship it may be. I've learned that I can apply some of these same concepts in my relationships with my sisters, co-workers, neighbors, right? Loved ones, lasting relationships. All right, let's get to that recap. Okay, turn your eyes away from looking at worthless things. Comparisons are worthless. We're looking at our own situations, where we are with what we have, and we're going to find the joy in what God has given us, the people that He's put in our lives. And what are we going to do? We're going to open up. We're going to share our fears, our desires, our secrets, so that we can have more of those moments that we can call romance, when we truly connect with the ones that we love. That's what God has for you. You are individually, and what? He fashioned you. You're specific. You don't have to be the queen. You could be a worker. You could be a soldier. And those call for different jobs. We look different. We have different purposes. But it's not for me to sit back and say, oh, I have less than because I don't look like the queen, or I don't have the job of the male insect. I don't get to die for the nest. Well, maybe it's your job to just fight for the nest. Whatever it is, take joy in that, because you were fashioned to be loved in your time with the one God called you to. All right, guys, that is your message for today. Please take it and run with it and be excited to be who God created you to be. I love you. You have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.